We're going back to the future. This is the German Touring Car Masters 2000. Hello everyone, welcome to the Norisring in the third weekend of racing in the German Touring Car Masters. I'm Milt Fitzwater as we join some 99,000 fans this weekend to see some of the top touring car stars in Europe in action. Before we take a look at the starting grid, we'd like to show you one of the most important people in the series. The German Touring Car Masters, AMG and Hans-Werner Albrecht. This is the man that keeps German touring car racing alive. He's the successful head of AMG Mercedes teams. AMG is known for quality cars and race cars. He was president of the ETR, has been president since 1988. Touring Cars and Albrecht, one name together. He was born in 1938. He lived in the shadow of the Second World War and the German Reconstruction. He developed his abilities and tenacity that he now shows today. He started AMG in 1967 and fulfilled his dream. His love of cars and racing became his profession. AMG became known for quality, and then an agreement with Daimler-Benz followed, and finally Daimler-Benz took over the company in a friendly takeover. His AMG teams have won 4 drivers' titles and have made Mercedes the most successful team in German touring car racing. He's a taskmaster. Even when it comes to one of his favorite drivers, motorsports legend Klaus Ludwig.
I don't know
if it's really a weakness if he demands everything and always asks questions. It's always important to have someone who is back there asking the questions and challenging us. When the Touring Car Series folded, Albrecht then started a successful series for Mercedes in GT racing. Nothing pleased him more than to see his cars in victory lane, which happened at Hockenheim. But now, we're at the Norisring, the street course in the city of Nuremberg. A tough course for the drivers, promises always to be some great racing. The course is 1.43 miles long. The cars have gone through a qualifying period that saw a lot of rain. Some of the drivers taking a last-minute break before they get into the cars to get ready for the racing today. This is the only street course in Germany. The last 2 were Singen and Berlin. There basically comes down to 3 left-handers and 1 right-hander, but there are 2 hairpins, one of which they get up to speeds of 155 miles an hour and they shift down to 31 miles an hour. What makes it even worse? Well, they don't get any chance to test here. They like to call this the guardrail canal, but it's also called the Little Monte Carlo. Winkelhock and Thiemann, there are the first 2 cars on the grid. Then comes Bernd Schneider and Klaus Ludwig in Mercedes. Then Modena and Reuter in the Opels, followed by Fessler and Jaeger, 2 of the new drivers in the field. Then Menzel and Ellery, 2 veterans of touring car racing. Then the first of the Audis with Abt and Alsen in the Opel. And then comes Lamy and Bartels. And in the back of the field, Scheider and Turner. Scheider, one of the top young drivers in the series. And then Aiello and Nissen fill out the field with the Audis, and Peter Dumbreck, who had an accident in open qualifying, is at the end of the field. His accident forced him to miss qualifying, so he'll have to start at the end of the pack because they simply had to rebuild the car. Winklehawk speed, 88.91 miles an hour as the cars head out. There are 13 cars within a second here as we're ready to start the first race of the day in the German Touring Car Masters here at the Norisring. 44 laps per race. 19 cars ready to go. Harold Gross driving the pace car, brings them around for the final time to head in front of the major grandstand. And we'll see who's got their car set up properly for what is one of the most difficult races of the season. One of the things missing, though, is heat. It's rained a lot, but usually this is a race of heat. There isn't much heat today. It's cold with the threat of rain. Winklehawk in the orange car on the right. Timon on the left in the Mercedes, and we're underway. And Jochen Winklehawk seems to have gotten the jump. This is the longest straightaway in the course. There's a bend here to the right. Timon is out in front, and then it's Winklehawk, and now you see the hairpin all the way down to first gear. Around the hairpin, everybody seems to be getting through pretty well here. And Jochen Winklehawk in the Opel is out in front. Timon is second. Klaus Ludwig is third. Bernd Schneider is fourth. And Manuel Reuter is running fifth. Behind him, Stefano Modena. So Schneider and Reuter running together there in fourth and fifth. They're tied for the points lead coming into the race with 52 points apiece. So the two drivers with championship aspirations at this point are running together, but a little behind the leaders. Jochen Winklehawk raced Super Touring cars last year, in the last few years for BMW, running his first year in an Opel. He had a little acclimating to do, and he had a 10th and a 6th at Hockenheim, 2 second-place finishes at the last race weekend in Oschersleben, and here at Norisring in the early going, he is out in front. Running right behind him, though, is one of the season rookies, Marcel Timon, a German who makes his home in Monte Carlo. His best finish this season so far are 2 sixth-place finishes. And we have a accident here in the opening moments at the hairpin. Timo Scheider and Peter Dumbreck involved there. Scheider also one of the top rookies, youngest driver in the field at 21. Timon trying to move up on Winklehawk as they go into the second of the hairpins out near the Zitzenteich, which is a lake located along this straightaway here. And so far, Timon is right up there with Winklehawk as they come across the line. Marcel Timon, who is challenging here, headed toward the hairpin. He's got the inside line. Is he going to hold it? He's staying with it, and he shut the door and gets by Winklehawk. And so does Klaus Ludwig. We've had a change in leaders. Ludwig has not gotten by Winklehawk. Winklehawk has a line into the next corner, and Ludwig is going to have to drop back into third. So Marcel Timon, one of the rookies this season in the German Touring Car Masters, has the lead here at the Norisring in Nuremberg, Germany. What a great start for the young driver. Looking back to see what happened, it was a case here where Dumbreck hit Scheider and they went off. Get a look at it from inside the car, coming up to it, and you can see that these two locked up, and it was a chance to drop way back and see how well they can come to the front. Timon continues to lead here as they go through the chicane, one of the tightest parts of the course. Winklehawk running second. Then Ludwig. Bernd Schneider is running fourth. Schneider, the winner of the races at Hockenheim. And here comes Winklehawk. He wants to make the move and get the lead back again. Winklehawk on the outside, and Timon loses it. Bumps Winklehawk, but both of them keep control. Part of the car of Timon hanging off to the side. Ludwig is right behind Timon right now. The part flies away, but more important, Winklehawk has taken the lead. Timon second. Klaus Ludwig, the veteran, running third. The oldest driver in the field at 50 years of age, 3-time touring car champion. He's disappointed in the first couple of races he's had this season. Not happy with his performances, but here today he's running third. Take another look as Winklehawk tries to get by Timon. They come out of the second hairpin, head down the long stretch. There's a kink to the left here. And here, Timon got a little loose, bumped into Winklehawk. Timon kept control and is still running second as we rejoin the race action. Now they have to find the braking point, the key point in this whole race course. You can see them having to brake down and shift down. They get up to about 155 miles an hour, shift from 6th to 1st to get down to 30 some odd miles an hour into that hairpin. The brakes take a tremendous beating here at the Norisring, these 44 laps. Uwe Alsen, one of the Opel drivers everybody had thought was going to be doing well in that black and red Opel, has certainly had his acclimation problems this year. He's not had quite the success that he has had in the past. He is now battling Pedro Lamy in the Mercedes, who has brand new sponsorship. Changed the number of his car to 24 to represent the 24-hour service of the company that is sponsoring his car. Winkelhock, Timon, Klaus Ludwig. There are your top three here at the Norisring. First race of the day in the German Touring Car Masters. And there you see the part flying off Timon's car after the collision with Jochen Winkelhock. And Winkelhock now has picked up a good lead as Hans-Werner Aufrecht watches all the action. There's your battle for second and third, and you can see how far Winkelhock has pulled ahead. Here comes Klaus Ludwig working on the rookie. The veteran and the rookie, and Ludwig is by him. Timon, who had qualified second, is now back into third, and he's got Bernd Schneider right behind him. And here comes Manuel Reuter inside Schneider, and Reuter takes over fourth place. Manuel Reuter, who won the two races in Oschersleben, has now moved into fourth, getting by Bernd Schneider. So you have a four-way battle here from second all the way back to fourth. Back behind them is Eric Ellery in another of the Opels. But right now it's this four-way battle for second. Into the hairpin, by the lake, a very difficult section with that guardrail. Then it's straight ahead with the kink to the left as they head down to the long straightaway in front of this huge crowd. Norbert Haug, the Mercedes team manager, paying close attention here. This is a tough battle. Here comes Manuel Reuter working on Timon. Timon on the outside. Reuter's got the line. He's in the dry part of the course and gets by. Manuel Reuter now moves into third place. Timon is back into fourth, and challenging him next is Bernd Schneider. In the first two races of weekends of the season, the young drivers certainly made names for themselves. Scheider, Timon, Fessler, all of them. And here, as you see in this picture, as Reuter gets by Marcel Timon, the veterans have taken over here at the Norisring. The track looks so simple, and yet the ones who know how to race here and know how to use the draft and know how to pick up the most space when they can, they're the ones that win, and there are your veterans. Second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth place. And only one of the rookies in that group, and that's Marcel Timon. Right there in that dark blue and gray Mercedes. And Fessler spins all by himself, it looks like. The teammate of Klaus Ludwig. And now Ludwig has got Reuter running right up on his bumper. Here comes the battle now for second place. Klaus Ludwig, Manuel Reuter, two of the top veterans of touring car racing here in Germany. Reuter now on the right, Ludwig on the left. Heading up toward the chicane. Ludwig brakes late. Reuter has no chance and spins. Ludwig held his braking to the very last moment with Reuter trying to get in on side. Reuter had to try to get by, and he waited too long to put his foot on the brakes and drops back. And now he's being challenged by Michel Bartels in another Opel. See here? Ludwig waited to the last minute. Cuts inside as Reuter goes outside on the spin. A great move by Klaus Ludwig, the veteran. Three-time German touring car champion. One of the toughest drivers in the field. Meanwhile, out in front all by himself, Jochen Winkelhock. Ludwig is running second, then comes Schneider, Tiemann, Reuter is back in fifth, Bartels is sixth, Jaeger, Alsen, and Lamy round out the top 9. Eric Ellery in the orange Opel there certainly has had his share of problems this year. The Frenchman, very popular with the fans, and blinking right now at Marcel Tiemann, telling him to get out of the way. He wants to get by. That's the last thing that Tiemann wants to do. And Tiemann did it to himself. He spun out. Ellery is by. 2 more cars get by. So Tiemann, who had started so strongly, is now dropping back and further into the field. What a tough break for him. Ludwig. And then Schneider. There you see what happens. It was a mistake by Marcel Tiemann, the rookie. And he spun out and lost a lot of space. And the Audis head into the pits. The 3 Audis in the field having their problems here. And another mistake, this time by Bernd Schneider in the hairpin. Schneider running behind Manuel Reuter now. But when he went into the hairpin, he lost it. Ludwig, Reuter, and Bernd Schneider, second, third, fourth. Down the long stretch in front of this huge crowd, an amazing crowd. They were in the neighborhood of some 30,000 or more in qualifying yesterday, and that was in the rain. Always one of the largest crowds. In fact, it is the second largest racing crowd in the season, the first being Formula One. And now Jochen Winkelhock, halfway through his last lap, looking for his first victory in the German Touring Car Masters. He's had a great race. He's been out in front. He's been able to control things. At Hockenheim, Winkelhock was 10th and 6th. At Oschersleben, he had 2 second-place finishes. And now here at the Norisring, if things hold up on the long last straightaway, he'll pick up his first victory. He's back. The BMW star, now Opel star, has won the first race of the day here in the street course in Nuremberg, and Klaus Ludwig finishes second. Reuter is third. Bernd Schneider is fourth. That means that Reuter has taken over the point lead after the first race of the day. That was Volker Stritzik, and there's the new wing door on the Opel, bringing in some fresh air, and of course the Opel fans couldn't have been happier. So Jochen Winkelhock becomes the 3rd driver to win an event here in the German Touring Car Masters 2000. And the Opel crew couldn't be happier. Now let's take a look at the man that makes the Opel move. Opel's Volker Stritzik has all the responsibility. He doesn't like paperwork. He's an all-around person. As the technical project director, he's the man that made the Opel Calibra a winner. He himself has been driving cars for some 20 years. He started in Formula Renault 5 in 1977, and people didn't really see much of a bright future for him. He began by flipping his car over, and Ralf Schmidt, who was the driver development at that time, said he had to find a solution for this, but he didn't want the responsibility. And I didn't want to have it either. So we suggested maybe we should send him home, recommend maybe another sport. Well, that hurt Volker. He was angry at us, and really angry at me, and he said, I'm going to show you. And he was, two-time champion, and later the touring car champion. And now we know what he is today. He surprised us after the spectacular start, and then he gave me a poster to hang on my wall after he won the title. And that German touring car title came in 1984 in a BMW. Since 1989, Stritzik has been under contract with Opel. He did some racing in the International Touring Car Championship. In 1996, he decided to end his career as a factory driver. But he still tests cars, and that's what he does today, as well as running the Opel Future. He knows the long course of the Nürburgring better than anyone in history. And he brought the fans the Opel Astra. He's one of the main movers in bringing German touring car racing back to the public. But the opening race of the season didn't go well for Opel. Bernd Schneider and Marcel Fassler had double victories for Mercedes. Then Opel came back at Oschersleben. Manuel Reuter and Jochen Winkelhock gave Opel 1-2 in both races. Bernd Schneider, who had won at Hockenheim, was back in the pack, battling for position. And then Schneider left the race with a few laps to go, quite spectacularly. Manuel Reuter and the Phoenix Opel team brought the Opel fans victory. So now we're ready for the second race of the day here at the Norisring in Nuremberg, Germany, in the German Touring Car Masters. It's been raining between races, and the drivers now have to come up with a choice of running the wet tires or staying with the slicks, all of them running with Dunlop tires. There isn't really much choices, rain or slicks. Winkelhock is in the pole. He won the race. Then comes Reuter and Schneider, your two title battlers. Then Bartels and Thiemann. Jaeger and Alsen in the middle of the pack. Pedro Lamy, who is going to be starting on slicks, and Modena. Then comes Turner and Scheider. And then toward the back of the pack is Fassler and Dumbreck. Dumbreck is also going to be on slicks. Ellery and Menzel bring up the end. There is only one of the Audis remaining. Chris Nissen came out. The other two went out in the first race with gearbox problems. So the Audis continue to have their problems in this season. They are not the factory-supported team, as are the drivers in Opel and Mercedes. It's an independent team from App Sportsline, and they've certainly had their work cut out for them here to keep the cars at least somewhat competitive, although they do get faster and faster. Here we go, coming off the last bend. Winkelhock is on the right, Klaus Ludwig is on the left. And we're ready to go here at the Norisring, race number 2. 17 cars take the green flag, and Winkelhock gets the lead again, and it's Ludwig right behind him. You can see the water coming up off the track. The question is now, will it rain again? And Winkelhock went way wide, almost lost it, and kept going. And Eric Ellery is spun by Darren Turner. Winkelhock has held the lead. going into the chicane. Klaus Ludwig is running second. They come out against the wall, but it's all wet here. They won't be going too near the wall at this point. Schneider is running third and trying to move up on Ludwig, and Reuter is running in the fourth slot right now. And Michel Bartels is behind Reuter, followed by Uwe Alsen. You can see how slippery it is because of the rain. What makes it even more difficult here is there are 3 different types of surfaces. And the back section, when you get near the wall on the back, is cement, which is very difficult to handle, particularly when it's wet. Schneider wanted to make a move on Ludwig. He does as Ludwig goes wide and drops into third place. So Klaus Ludwig evidently was in a late breaking point, went way wide, and Schneider got by him. So Klaus Ludwig is running third, and Reuter is running fourth. You can see some of that cement there on the left where the cars slide a little bit when they go out. Take another look at that. You can see there, first of all, is a 3-car start. And it looks like Timon is the man who was in the sandwich there with Alsen. And then as they come around, Ellery is caught in the middle between Fessler and Turner. And Turner turned Ellery. And look at this. Winkelhock has opened up a good lead on Bernd Schneider. But he goes wide coming out of the turn. Alsen goes way wide and off your screen. Bernd Schneider second. Then comes Ludwig with the red mirrors, and then Manuel Reuter running fourth. Alsen was able to hold on to position, came back in front of Modena as the rest of the field sorts itself out. That yellow lone Audi of Chris Nissen in the back of the pack. Into the hairpin by the Dutzendteich, the lake, which is to the right of the track here. And Ellery has come in after the spin. Ooh, they got to fix the back end. You can see what happened when he bumped the wall after spinning with Turner. We've got to try to get that straightened out so they can get him back on the track. Ellery certainly has had his share of problems this year. Very strong driver, but he just has had problems with this car. Uwe Alsen now and Jaeger. Alsen in front of Jaeger as they go into the hairpin. Jaeger gets inside as Alsen goes wide. Fessler is right there with him. Alsen loses a position. This is for 6th place. And Fessler goes way wide in his Mercedes. So Thomas Jaeger in the gray Mercedes, followed by the black and red Opel of Uwe Alsen. And behind them is Fessler in another Mercedes. Behind them, Modena in the Opel. 2 abreast headed toward the hairpin, but here comes Winkelhock. He's your leader with a breathing space between Schneider. Then comes Ludwig, Reuter. Behind him, Michel Bartels. Then Jaeger. And the rest of the field coming through. Timo Scheider in that blue and white Mercedes coming through has had his share of problems. Here is the Uwe Alsen going wide. Jaeger cuts inside. Behind them is Marcel Fessler around the hairpin. And they really get loose going around. And we have a change in position. But meanwhile, Bernd Schneider continues to run second. Klaus Ludwig third. We have some spacing now between the first 1 through 5 cars. There goes Manuel Reuter, a former ITC champion. Makes his home in Austria now. And Klaus Ludwig, the oldest driver in the field, and probably one of the happier ones right now, even though we aren't even through the second race. He brought his car back in the top 5, and he's back in business after a difficult start in the beginning of the season. Timo Scheider spins out, and is hit by cars going by. Fessler now has dropped back a position. He has Modena behind him. You can see that the cars are still getting squirrely on certain parts of the course. Jaeger, then Fessler, and Fessler flips his lights on. He's not close enough yet to tell him he wants to pass, but let's see what happens. They're headed toward the hairpin. No one's going anywhere here. The question now is, it is not raining. They're running, all of them except 2 drivers are running on the rain tires. And the rain that was everyone thought was going to come again hasn't. So sooner or later, they're going to have to do something about their tires. The rain tires are great when it's wet, but when it dries out, they start to disintegrate. Bernd Schneider one of the co-leaders in the points coming in, dropped into second place after finishing 4th in the first race here, is now lapping the field, trying to run down Jochen Winkelhock, which is not going to be an easy to do. Schneider had 2 first-place finishes at Hockenheim. He was 3rd and 12th at Oschersleben, finished 4th here in the first race at the Norisring. Chris Nissen, the lone Opel out there, he did not finish in the first race. And the Opels have just had their share of problems. You just saw Winkelhock going by as they come carefully around. Here comes Ellery into the pit. And Volker Stritzek watching all the action and also looking to see what happened to Ellery. More cars are coming into the pits. Schneider has already pitted as they're coming in to change tires. So Bernd Schneider's already been in. The rest of the Mercedes teams here coming in to change tires. This is going to change the standings dramatically. Jochen Winkelhock is still out on the course, so he is your leader. But now it's a question of who gets in and out of the pits the quickest. There you see Ellery going by and the rest of the pack. Timo Scheider in that blue and white Mercedes with the redone aerodynamics up front. And Bernd Schneider has changed to slicks, but he is back in the pack a little bit. The question now is, when will Winkelhock come in? And what will happen to the standings at that time? Bernd Schneider is putting down some good times here in the second race. Schneider know that he needs to stay ahead of Manuel Reuter to get back into at least even with him in the points race and possibly take the lead. And here comes Winkelhock, and he's coming into the pits. Your leader, Jochen Winkelhock, is coming into the pits to change to slicks. Brakes to get down to the 30-mile-an-hour limit coming in. And the Opel crew is waiting for him here. Now it's a question of how quick can they get him out, and can they get him out before Schneider comes by. Your leader on the course right now, I believe, is Michel Bartels or Dumbreck. And Dumbreck, you remember, started on slicks. And Winkelhock is out. But he has lost the lead. Jochen Winkelhock has lost the lead. Bernd Schneider has taken the lead. Here you see Winkelhock coming back onto the course, going down into the hairpin. Ludwig is now running second. Well, that's not quite right. It looks like Bartels and Dumbreck may be ahead of him. There's Bartels right there. So Bartels inherited the lead, but now he's coming in. So the question is, does he go across the finish line first in the pits, which does count, which means Bartels then most likely would give him a lap as a leader, and Dumbreck would take over the lead. So Schneider still is not your leader. You have to remember, Dumbreck was the man that started in slicks and has not come into the pits. So Peter Dumbreck is out in front. Everyone else is pitted. And there's Jochen Winkelhock and Klaus Ludwig. That's what's happened to Dumbrick. We couldn't find him. He spun. Can you believe it? The man was out in front, had a chance to lead the race, spins, and loses positions. And Ludwig has gotten by Winkelhock. Another of the Pearson cars comes out. But here's the battle right now with Ludwig and Winkelhock. Here comes Ellery into the pits. Schneider is also coming into the pits. So the last of the cars that were on wet tires are in to change to slicks. This is Timo Schneider's car, the youngest driver in the field at 21. A great talent, but he's having his lesson here with the veterans around the Norisring. Schneider now has taken the lead. Bernd Schneider is your leader. And he has a huge lead over Klaus Ludwig and Jochen Winkelhock. Here they come. Manuel Reuter is now running in 4th place, and Chris Nissen in the Audi is running in 5th, but they have not pitted yet. So Nissen has brought the Audi as far to the front they've been this season, but he's going to have to make a pit stop sooner or later to change tires. So with Schneider in the lead and Reuter in 4th, the battle between the points leaders now is once again underway here at the Norisring. And there's Chris Nissen. Sooner or later he's got to come in though and change the rain tires for slicks. So the Norisring, that's known to be a course that has a lot of heat, is cold and rainy today, but the competition is tough. Look at this one here. Jaeger gets inside of Timon and pushes him off. Alsen and Fessler get by on the inside. Take a look at it. Whoa, Jaeger just went way past the braking point and hit Timon. And there you see Alsen in that black and red Opel pulling in on the inside. A sandwich there for Jaeger. And there goes Timon. He pulled his car out. Back up with your leaders. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. Ludwig is running 2nd. Winkelhock is running 3rd, and then behind them is Manuel Reuter. Norbert Haug, the head of Mercedes, watches this action. 3 of the top drivers in touring car racing in Germany are running up in the battle. Meanwhile, Bernd Schneider has lapped several of the cars as he is out in front and enjoys a huge lead of almost 11 seconds or so over the 2nd place car. As you can see now, there comes Ludwig, and see how close he comes? That's a cement wall. And you can see as it dried out, the driver used every bit of the track over onto the cement right up against the wall. Of course, some drivers have been known to kiss that wall quite nicely. Some use the wall. Kurt Thiem used to use the wall. He'd come around, tap it just a little bit, and get straightened out and keep going. But here's your battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Klaus Ludwig, Jochen Winkelhock, and Manuel Reuter. Reuter wants to make the move on Winkelhock. You can see how uneven the course is going into the breaking point for this hairpin. The trio running together here. And Winkelhock wanted to get inside of Ludwig and couldn't do it. Behind Reuter, further back, Bartels and Alsen, Fessler, Jaeger, Lamy, Dumbrick came back in after the spin. He's back in 10th place. Moden in the Opel is in 11th. Reuter wants to get inside on Winkelhock into the hairpin, but Winkelhock's going inside of the Mercedes of Ludwig. Look at Ludwig. Whoa, what driving. Ludwig went way wide, cut between the two, and kept the hold of 2nd place. And Winkelhock lost his place. Reuter has moved up one. Spectacular driving. So now Reuter, who is leading in the points with a short margin, wants to head towards Schneider. Let's take a look. Ludwig had gone wide. He cuts inside of Winkelhock, cuts off Reuter. Meanwhile, Winkelhock got loose, lost the position to Reuter. Great piece of driving. Ludwig runs second, Reuter third. Reuter would like to move up into second if he could and keep the points very, very tight. Let's see what happens here. Can he get inside? No, he can't. And Winkelhock made a big mistake in the braking. Went way wide. That takes him out of contention right now. He won't be in the battle for second. But a fourth place finish won't bother him either. It'll put him up right in the points race. So he has been going very well. Jochen Winkelhock can finally do some more smiling after his 2 second-place finishes at Oschersleben and the winning in the first race today. But you can see how far he is now behind Ludwig and Reuter. So Bernd Schneider with a big lead out in front. Winkelhock now trying to catch up. But these are the two that are battling for second and third. Klaus Ludwig, 50 years old, the oldest driver in the field. And Manuel Reuter, 38, two of the veterans. They both won Le Mans. They both won touring titles. Here comes Reuter on the inside. Here goes Ludwig. He gets it back. He got it back. Reuter waited too late, went wide, and Ludwig got inside and held on to second place. It can't get much tighter. Heading into the chicane. Take another look at it. Ludwig is way outside. Reuter goes in. You can see Ludwig then cut back into the dry, took the inside, and held on to second place as Reuter went way wide. This is why the German fans love their touring cars. They're some of the most loyal touring car fans you're ever going to see. Bernd Schneider out in front, then Ludwig, then Reuter, and Winkelhock sitting back in fourth place. Once again, Reuter and Ludwig. Ludwig waited a long time there. Reuter right up on his bumper. You see Michel Bartels in the Opel is running fifth. Alsen in an Opel is running sixth. So Opel is doing quite well here. But all eyes are on these two. The battle of Mercedes and Opel. Ludwig and Reuter. So far, Ludwig has had the best of Reuter in their duels. Let's see what happens here. Once again in front of the main grandstand. Reuter right now is in a perfect place to slip out if he can do it, out of the slipstream. Here they come to the braking point. Reuter braking. You can see the car wiggle. He gets inside and gets by. Listen to the fans. The Opel fans are going nuts. Manuel Reuter has moved into second place. Klaus Ludwig is back in third place. So right now, Mercedes leads, and Opel is second, and a Mercedes is third, with an Opel fourth. Very clean pass. Reuter in the dry part of the track. This time, Ludwig couldn't cut back in on him. So Manuel Reuter has taken over second place and is extending his lead over Ludwig a little bit. You can see how far back Winkelhock is. Unless something drastic happens, Winkelhock will not be in contention here in the second race. That was not Schneider going by, that was Jaeger, his teammate. You know Schneider's car is the gray Mercedes with the red mirrors. So it looks like the battle for second place has been settled then, with only a few laps to go. Manuel Reuter running second here in the Opel. Had a third and a 13th at Hockenheim. He actually had finished in the top 5 at Hockenheim, but then was penalized time because he was involved in an accident. He sent Dunbrake off. In Oschersleben, Reuter was winner of the first two. And he was third in the first race here at the Norisring. Meanwhile, Bernd Schneider is your leader. Schneider a fourth in the first race here at the Norisring. Earlier, 2 wins at Hockenheim, a third and a 12th at Ossersleben. He went off the course with a few laps to go, so both he and Reuter have had one bad race. The rest of the time, they've been up into the top 5. And consistency this year is certainly going to be the key. Coming into the race, only 6 drivers had completed all the laps in every race. Reuter was one of them. Winkelhock was another. But right now, it's a matter of Bernd Schneider with Modena, a lap car, running right behind him. Schneider with no trouble. A good lead after the pit stop that got him out in front. He was the first in to change from the rain tires to the slicks. After a couple of laps after he had come out, he took the lead because Winkelhock came in. And Winkelhock had been leader at the time, and then this is the way it's been. Bernd Schneider took the lead, and he's in his last lap. So if Bernd Schneider continues to roll at the rate he's going, he'll take over the points lead. But it's amazing how the Opel of Stefano Modena, who is a lap car, is staying right there with Schneider. Schneider will pick up then his 3rd victory of the season if everything holds up to form right now. We've only had 2 winners then in the second races of the weekends. And here he comes, Bernd Schneider, your winner of the second race of the day at the Norisring, the street course in Nuremberg, Germany. And that's the Mercedes crew all out on the wall congratulating Bernd Schneider, this man, for his win here at the Norisring. Schneider has taken over the points lead with the victory. Reuter is now second in the points. There's only a 3-point difference between the two. Winkelhock is third in the points after his great day today. So the championship now is wide open. In the teams, the Opel Team Phoenix, the one that Reuter drives for, is first in the team championship. Schneider's team, the D2 AMG Mercedes, is second. And there's your winner, Bernd Schneider. He has won in just about every kind of car. He was a former Formula 1 driver who didn't have much success there, but boy, in GT racing he was great, and in touring cars he's fantastic. Your winner today here at the Norisring. There's Klaus Ludwig, who can be very happy with his performances today. The veteran coming back, pushing his Mercedes up into a 2nd and 3rd place finish. Norbert Haug, the Mercedes team manager. So the day here belongs to Mercedes and Bernd Schneider.
I'm really satisfied because we could not expect, especially after the first one, that we are fighting for winning the second one. And I'm really happy. But we gambled a lot in the second, and that time it's worked out and we won everything. And I'm very happy, and I'm congratulate to the team because this is for sure a victory by the team because this pit stop was amazing.
Jochen Winkelhock in the center, Manuel Reuter on the right, Klaus Ludwig on the left. The victory ceremony here at the Norisring in Nuremberg, Germany. The next stop will be the Sachsenring. And there are the second race finishers. Bernd Schneider on your screen there. The season then tightens up quite a bit. As you see the points with Schneider, Reuter, Winkelhock all right up in front. Ludwig is into 5th place after his strong performance here. So that does it for our coverage of the German Touring Car Masters here at the Norisring in Nuremberg, Germany. The drivers are celebrating, the fans are now celebrating this race weekend, and they're looking for another strong one coming up at the Sachsenring. They'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. Will these drivers be the ones that are on top at that time? Who knows? But the battle between Mercedes and Opel will be as strong as ever. if not stronger. And they split here today after the two makes dominated the first two races of the season. Once again, the next stop on the tour will be at the Sachsenring. Hope to see you then.